to my channel.
Oh my god,
My special
I thought
guest.
I'd never make it here.
Haladi, what you mean? My best friends for over 30 years in my channel. Say hello, Haladi.
Hello, everyone.
So, today she's going to be sharing a little bit. We're going to have a conversation between each other, but she'll be sharing more about her. And we're just here, like, waiting to see.
Well, let me say before
yes.
you ask me a question,
Yes.
I am really, really proud of you doing this. I'm not trying to make you cry. This is
Why?
real.
Okay.
I'm really proud of you, like taking like this step, and it's so brave of you to like, have this open space not only to share of yourself, but to bring other people to share. And I just feel like, to me, it's so touching that you, with everything that you've been through in life, are taking this platform to kind of heal. Like I feel like this is also healing for you to do this, and and that's why I have to say that it's very like heartwarming and touching to see you doing this. And
thank you.
I love you.
love you. Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey for me, an exciting one. I didn't think I was gonna have so many people talking in the platform, and things that I've heard, I'm like, wow, like I didn't wanna know so much, but we're here for that, right? Like,
right.
But like we're here to heal. Like, we're not gonna be 100% heal ever, but let's be the better version of ourselves. Let's try to get there somehow, right?
Yep.
So the first question for you today is, we're gonna just have a conversation. I'm nervous. So it's can you share oh my god, I just got a deja vu. I gotta say it.
What?
It was just that, like, this was happening.
Really?
Like, yes.
Oh, like we were here
We're
before.
Actually here before.
I'm
It's
pretty
crazy.
sure.
Yeah, probably. Can you share a personal story about the moment in your journey of healing with your younger self?
Yes. So in my journey of healing, my journey of healing has been like pretty long. I think like I've been trying to like dig deeper into like the layers of myself for quite some time. I want to say like maybe like 10 plus years, where it's almost like you're like in this stage in life where life is happening so fast, and a lot of like big life moments are happening, and joyous moments. You're having children, you're buying houses, you're doing all this stuff, where you're kind of like just going on autopilot because you're living through it. But 10 years ago, I want to say more or less, like that's where my journey started, where I was like starting to notice a lot of like different emotions in me that I couldn't no longer ignore. And we're not gonna say our age here, but 10 years ago, but 10 years ago is around the age where, medically speaking and biologically speaking, women start, like our hormones start like changing. There's things happening that we sometimes don't understand. So a lot of it could have been like hormonally like induced. But I'm thankful for it, because it drew me to like kind of like dig a little bit deeper. At first it was just like by reading some books. It wasn't until about 6 years ago, I want to say 5 years ago, that I started really going to therapy. Like that I started going to therapy, period. And then that's when I started digging a little bit deeper. It took me like 2 or 3 people before I can actually click with somebody.
Yes, click. It's really hard.
But my current
I
one,
just lost mine.
No, really?
The guy.
Oh, the guy. I remember you told me about him.
I lost
He
him.
was
Like,
Puerto Rican, you said,
Puerto
right?
Rican, and he moved up in the company, and I got somebody
from the same
organization.
Same,
but I'm not too in tune with her, but I'm trying her.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I think you have to try, and like if that's not a good fit or it's not aligning with where you are, then you move
have to
on.
Get somebody else.
Yeah,
definitely.
like I feel like that was my case. The first few people, I want to say like 3 people or maybe 4. But then the one that I have now, the thing that made me click so much with her was that she is a first generation oldest daughter of immigrants. So she is me, basically.
Yes,
me and a lot of us, right?
Yes.
So anyway, the first time that I started connecting with her and like connecting with myself in that respect, it was more along those lines. Like what are the things that I do that are coming from a place of trauma because of the place that I landed in my family. Like it's nothing nobody did anything to me, but I happen to be the oldest daughter, first generation of an immigrant family. So there's a lot of trauma that we don't call it trauma, but we just call it like it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But there's a lot of exactly.
Eso pasa, muchacho.
Eso es lo que es. Like tú eres la mayor, tú tienes que cuidar tus hermanitos, tú tienes que cocinar, tú tienes que hacer esto, whatever. So all of those things, I started digging deeper into it, like what it caused in me. And so to your question, like I think the point in my healing journey, as that kind of clicked like with my younger self, was understanding that I never prioritized my needs because I was always concerned about everybody else's needs, right? So that like led me to also
be like that.
Yeah, like be
the whole your whole
yeah,
life.
like that carried into my adulthood, and that led me to be a person that didn't really think like my needs are important because I didn't want to bother my parents, or I didn't want to like be a burden to them when they were, you know, counting on me to kind of be the older sister, like cuida tu hermanito. Like there was a time when between I was like 13 and like 17, I think, that my mom was working 2 jobs and my dad was working overnight, and I would have to cook. Like I would be the one that had to cook for all of us.
And you were at what age, you said?
Between like 13 and 17, I want to say. So maybe 13 and 17. I know that I learned how to cook around like 11 or 12.
Age,
yeah. And you know, so those were like responsibilities that fell on me, that I kind of like didn't allow myself to be like, I need this or I need that. And the moment, I'm going to tell you the moment, because I spoke to this with my therapist, was on my 8th grade graduation. I used to go to Catholic school, St. Jude's. Shout out to St. Jude's on Dykeman. Well, on 204. Oh, it's where IAL
the way they are
used
now.
to be.
Yeah.
Oh, they're still there?
No,
they used to be, yeah. So anyway, I used to go there. So my 8th grade graduation dance happened to be on the day that my little brother was born.
Oh, wow.
So my mom went into labor in the morning. Granted, my mom had already helped me. Like I remember we like bought like my stuff, like my dress. I remember it was like the pleated skirts were in style, so it was like a pleated skirt with like a top, and you know, I had gone to the salon and everything. But my mom went into labor in the morning. And I was like, oh my God, what the heck? Like, and I was scared. It was at night. It was like at 5 p.m. And I was like, what's gonna, like, in my mind, I was like, am I gonna be able to go to this? But I never said anything because I didn't want to worry them, or I didn't want to like add a burden to them. So ended up being that I did end up going. I don't remember who took me. I think maybe my grandma walked me or something. Anyway, the point is that when I was there, my mom was almost giving birth. She was in the hospital the whole day. That's how come I ended up going. But then she ended up going into labor, and I had to leave. So it was like I was there for like a little. I remember being there for like a little bit of time. It was Brian. It was Brian. Yeah, because I was 12 when Brian was born. And so that was the moment I think that I kind of, to me, was a turning point in the sense of like thinking that I don't matter, like that wasn't like my things aren't important, like this is more important. And I didn't even feel it at the time. At the time, I probably felt joy that I was gonna have a little brother, because I was super excited about it, right? So like I felt joy at the moment, but digging into it, you know, later as an adult, it made me sad, because I'm like, that was the moment that I decided that my joys didn't matter. You know. And like something that was important for me, you know, didn't matter. I decided that. My family never said that Brian being born was more important. It was just something that happened. It was something that just happened to happen logistically. But I decided in that moment, like, that my joy or my things weren't as important as everybody else.
This was, you always putting somebody else in front of you.
Exactly.
And your needs. And sometimes that leads us to where we are at now. Where
exactly.
We are, I mean, therapy, everybody should take it, right?
Listen, yes.
But I mean, others need it more than others, and it leads us there because of the things that we didn't unfold and we thought they were right at the moment, you know? But it totally, thank you for sharing. It was awesome, because a lot of people don't talk, they don't say these things.
And so crazy, I didn't even know this question was a question before.
Like, she doesn't know nothing, like nothing. This is just me
So
putting my
funny.
things together, and I'm like, let's say we're unfolding over here. It's a conversation. The next one is, what inspired you to start this journey, this healing journey, this?
I think I said it before. Like, I
Yes.
think the inspiration was just basically there was feelings happening in me that I
Yes.
could no longer ignore.
Yes, you
That
did.
may probably been there for a little bit, but then with like the hormonal changes that were happening with me, I was like, like, why am I angry, or why am I like feeling sad, or so like it was like indicators that I needed to like really
work
dig
on and
into
think,
it.
okay.
Yeah, especially like
Yes.
having kids at that time. At that point, obviously 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
because you attending to the kids and
Correct.
we as mothers.
Yeah, and also
In the
like
back burner, and we just forget
yeah,
ourselves.
and I
Definitely.
think in that time my kids were small. I mean, 10 years ago they
Yes,
must have
they
been like,
still,
yeah, they must what like 2, 3, like, and then like Jacob like 6 or 7. So it's almost like thinking about the long game. Like I gotta put my mask on so I can be able to put it on them. Yeah, like
to be okay.
to
And
be
we
okay.
were just having a conversation about that too. Sometimes we do that now.
Exactly.
Even
Yeah.
being in the journey, because we're still healing and we're
Of
still
course.
learning that.
100%.
So, what advice would you give somebody who is just beginning their journey of healing with their younger self?
I think my advice would be do it. Like
Now.
get a therapist. You're
Yes.
you're probably more than likely not going to click with the first person you see. There's so many resources right now. Like that's a whole nother topic
Yes,
of conversation. Like
oh,
in regards to
but
like
there
what,
is.
yeah, in regards to like some of the things that I'm passionate about and I want to do in this next season. There's so many resources, and
Absolutely.
like try different avenues, but do it. Like don't hesitate anymore. Like just go find that therapist that clicks with you, aligns with you, and then just start unpacking. It's like the luggage is not gonna go away.
No,
You
absolutely.
gotta unzip and start unloading. Like
And it's so crazy because when you're with your therapist, there's obviously they're professionals for that, right? And they ask you questions that lead you to a time where you're like, where did I get this from? Like, how do I even know this? How did it come
Exactly.
out? Why am I even I never thought of this. Why am I thinking about it now?
yeah.
And there's things that we all need to heal that we don't know from our younger.
Oh my God, there's so much that is like I said, there's so much that's buried underneath the layers
Yes.
of what you think was
Absolutely.
normal, or what you think was just the cards you were dealt, or like who like anybody that knows me that will be listening to
Yes.
this knows my family. I feel like I feel like I had a really loving home. I had a good safe place in my house. So, like
Absolutely.
it was not only safe
I
for
can
us
testify
but
for
safe
that. Yeah,
for
for
others.
yeah.
And so I feel like if you look at it from the outside in, you won't think that it's something like what do you need to heal from, but there's so many things that come out of like just you connecting with like your childhood self,
Yes.
like your inner child, how
Your
they
inner
say,
child.
like that you have to kind of pinpoint back to like at what point did I decide this, like in the example
Yes,
that I
like you
gave,
gave,
like
yes,
this is
absolutely.
the point, I know that this is the point where I decided that I blah blah blah. Or like if it's like abuse or trauma, and those things will come out, you might have blocked it.
Yes.
You might have blocked it, and you might have and those things all come out when prompted. Like otherwise you're just
Very
your subconscious like hides it to keep you
To
safe.
keep you in that safe place,
Yeah.
and then you don't want to hurt
Yeah.
other people. Oh, this is gonna hurt somebody.
Exactly.
But whatever the case is, it has to come out somehow, and you have to heal from
Of
that.
course, yeah.
For you to like move forward and be somewhat happy with yourself. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, the next question is how could, I think you did say that, you said a little bit about it, but how did therapy and counseling play a role in your healing? Like,
Yeah, like exactly that. Like it helped like maybe pinpoint things that I never thought were causing certain behaviors in me.
yes.
So like, like I said, looking at your life, you always take like the things that help you feel warm and safe and like cuddly inside, and that's
Yes.
you romanticize
And you
it,
stay,
right?
yep.
Like that's what I think I did,
It's
and
true.
and like I said, it was a great childhood and it was a great life, but
42 Thayer.
yeah
Yes.
42 there was
Yes,
lit,
it was
for
lit.
everybody, and I just feel like it was all those things, but it doesn't negate the fact that some of the circumstantial, like logistically speaking, like the place I held in my family, how I was born first, and all of this stuff, and how I
Mm-hmm.
another thing is like my parents left me in
Mm-hmm.
DR
Mm-hmm.
when they came here,
Mm-hmm.
and I was with my grandmother and my aunt,
Yes.
and I don't remember that per se. I don't have like a vivid
A
memory,
vivid.
because I was like, it was between the ages of 1 and 4,
Okay.
or like 9 months and 4, I think
Mm-hmm.
it was. But the body remembers, like,
Yes.
like I don't remember, but like the body keeps score of those things. Like maybe I have some type of like
Mm-hmm.
feeling of like abandonment, or that I didn't,
Yes, because you're like my mom
but
left, but you didn't
yeah,
know at the
but
moment
I
what's
didn't know.
happened.
No,
Yeah.
I think the moment I
Mm-hmm.
knew was when I got here, because I
Mm-hmm.
that memory I remember. That's
Mm-hmm.
like my farthest memory, when I was 4,
Yes.
and I got to this country over with my uncle who
Yes.
passed away already,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember feeling like a little strange,
Yeah.
like I remember
Mm-hmm.
not really feeling like so like super connected to my
Mm-hmm.
parents. And then when I got here, they had Richard.
Yes.
Like
Oh, yes.
there's
There
this
was
baby
there was
here.
a baby here, and you
Yeah.
and you
And
coming new
I'm coming
also.
new, yeah. So I may not remember how that made me feel,
Mm-hmm.
but my body keeps score of that feeling of
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, espérate, like ustedes me
Dejaron, ¿y
dejaron,
qué pasó?
y ahora hay
Yeah.
otra persona.
Yes.
Like, am I not part of this family?
And you
like,
see
you
that
know?
a lot in the Dominican culture, even in Latin culture, because a lot of parents
Yeah.
come to give
A
get
better
future,
life,
and
yeah.
they'll leave the kids behind, which I know it's also hard for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Some people don't care as much, but others they do.
And I'm grateful that
Yes.
mine is not in my
a
memory,
yes.
because I was so
Exactly.
young,
Mhm.
and they probably did everything so fast so that they won't have to
So
leave
won't
me.
have to keep you
So
there
that's
so long.
that's what I'm talking about, romanticizing it. You almost see it as, oh my god, my parents did a good thing
Yes.
in like coming to this country for us and for our future,
Like I
right?
should just, yeah.
And I'm so grateful. Look,
even
yeah.
though this
Yeah.
caused me some kind of trauma.
Yeah,
I should still
exactly.
be grateful, but
Exactly.
you should always talk about what bothers you, what doesn't, what,
Oh my
what you
God.
see, and what you not because of there was something there.
Right,
that-
exactly.
that affected
And just
you.
like that part
Mhm.
of, for me, was like something so, I don't want to say minor, because it was
Yes.
big to me.
Of
There's
course.
other people that had like traumatic, harmful things that were done to,
Oh,
hurtful
yeah,
things that were done
definitely.
to them, and that they
People that
don't
we know and know
remember.
around
Of
us, yes.
course.
That
I
were
don't know
done-
the
that
statistic,
thank
but
God that it didn't happen, but it's like it happened to a lot of them.
yeah, and I don't really know the statistic, but I want to say it's like close to 1 in 6.
Yes,
Kids,
yeah,
and
it's
it's always a
uncle,
family
father,
member,
somebody
yeah.
that you think, oh no, yo lo puedo confiar en él. No,
Exactamente.
not with your kids. You have to be careful because you don't know.
Exactly.
But we were lucky
Yeah, of
that we
course.
didn't experience that. So we're gonna go on to the topic of unlearning. Unlearning could be a critical part of healing, right? The healing process.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you like? 2 things you could share, that you had to unlearn. Like for me, I want to say suppressing my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I suppressed a lot of my emotions when it came to growing up. Also, just so I don't think I should say that, or maybe no. Even in my marriage, I had to suppress a lot. Even I felt a certain type of way,
Mm-hmm.
I had to suppress.
Yeah.
And I'm still unlearning that.
Yeah. Unlearning. I mean, that's
There's a lot. There's a
yeah.
list. It could be a
That's
list.
like the tagline of
Yes.
my life right now.
Mhm.
It's like the deprogramming
Mhm.
of like all the things that you thought.
Yes.
I think one big thing would be like unlearning that your decisions have to be okay with other people. Like
Yes.
it's like
Mhm.
it's like that
If I
people
say
please.
yes to this,
Yeah.
people pleasing, yes.
Yeah, it's like the people pleasing aspect of it.
Mhm.
Like I feel like I have a PhD in that,
Yeah.
like it's just like
Mhm.
unlearning the fact that people that love you are gonna love you no matter what
Regardless,
you
yes.
do.
Mhm.
They are going to love you for who you are, and anybody that doesn't love you
Mhm.
because you made a decision they didn't agree with,
Mhm.
or that they didn't feel okay with,
Mhm.
then that person never loved you to begin
Exactly.
with. Like
to begin with,
like
yes.
family, friends, whatever it is, like
Mhm.
that's, I think that to me is a critical a part of unlearning, like unlearning that I needed to make decisions or do things
Mhm.
so that other people can affirm it, or so
Affirm,
that other
yes.
people can validate it, like,
Be
oh, you
okay
did
with it.
great,
You did
like
great,
great
yes.
job, like
Or that was
like
good that you did that, or good
yeah,
that they say
like
no.
mira
and
que niña más buena,
Sí.
que niña que esto, like like I feel like I
Mhm.
had to unlearn that a lot, and that also came a lot from our Christian from like our church. I'm not gonna say our Christian,
yes.
our church upbringing, like
Bringing.
that kind of like validation where it's like,
It was a yes or a no. No, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that.
yeah,
and
la
then,
niña cristiana
yes,
no
that's
hacen
it.
esto, you know, like that kind of thing. I feel like that's been like a really big thing. I feel that that's one of the biggest unlearnings.
Of course. Definitely.
The second thing I feel like unlearning is tied to what I said before, like
Yes.
unlearning that other people's joys or other people's needs or other people's success, you know, achievements
Yes.
are more important than mine.
Than yours.
Like I'm so good at celebrating everybody. I'm so good at celebrating other people. Like I'm so proud of you. I'm, oh my God, good
Yes.
job, blah blah.
Yeah.
Because subconsciously I might feel like their successes and their joys and their achievements are more important than mine. And it's like a false humility.
Yes,
Like
yes.
no, like you celebrate
Which is a good
celebrate
thing to
yourself.
have.
Yeah, like there's a
But you have
balance.
to, yes,
yeah.
but you also have to also, look,
Yeah,
I
like-
did this, like, when do you
Yeah,
say, good
like
job,
I
Heidi?
did the
I did
shit
this.
out of that.
Yes,
You know, like I did that. Like
and it's
you know,
okay to say. People say, "Oh, you consider this." No, I did this, and this is, and
Yeah.
it took me this time, and I did this, and look how I did it. Like I don't even know how I got here, but I did it.
yeah, like no,
Like,
you
know,
you have to unlearn the fact that celebrating yourself and like your joys and your needs. Another big thing is like learning how to not tie my asking for what I deserve or for my needs, tie it to an apology. Like I'm sorry, but I need this, or like I'm sorry, but
No.
you're not sorry. Like this is what you need and this is what you
yes.
want. Like it shouldn't be tied to an apology.
To an apology
Like
for anybody,
you
'cause
should
this-
not hold apologies for wanting what you want or needing what you
Absolutely
need.
not. No.
You know, at the end of the day, there's some people that can meet you there, and then there's some people that
They
can't.
can't.
And then
how
that's
is.
it. You have to
And
kind
the
of
person
be
that's gonna
okay
meet
with
you
that.
there, they're gonna be there. They're gonna be there, and whoever
Exactly.
has to be there at the moment, it's gonna be there. You don't take in every season in life everybody. with you.
Yes.
In every step.
Exactly.
Like there's a very, I want to say like a more it's a lonely season for me, and it's also something that I have also chosen, right? Because I'm more discovering myself a little more, and just being like, you know, I deserve this, I deserve that, I don't want this, and it's just us pickpointing, you know.
Yeah.
But this is the healing.
Yeah, of course.
It's so much layers, like you said earlier, to unfold.
Yeah, people think
Even the
healing is
fear
so
to
easy.
failure is like,
That's a huge one. That is a huge one.
because I had fear, like, oh, should I even do this podcast? Because I don't talk that much. I don't have that big vocabulary. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not gonna get views, but my first priority was for people to start healing the right way, to know there's an answer out there, that you're not alone when you feel at night and you feel like there's nobody there with you. Like, it could be an end of a marriage, a death, whatever. Mom is not here, dad is not here, they abandoned me. It's like there's always help out there, and there's a lot of resources that you guys could get.
And there's always somebody that can relate to your experience. Like I told you before we started, like I'm so proud of the fact that you're doing this, because even if it's one person that can relate to like the message, or if it's just one person that finds comfort in hearing like somebody's story, like, you know, I know for Father's Day you had some men sharing like their experience with their dads or lack of, you know, like if there's one person that heard that and was able to be like, wow, like I felt that, like that really comforted me, then it was worth it.
It was worth it.
And that's what the whole social media, like content creating podcast era is, you know, now, like that's what it is, like that's where it gets lost in the sauce, because it's like, it shouldn't be like so much for views or likes, like it should be more for like what you're bringing to this space is helping somebody else, like. And I feel like a lot of the people that are really doing it well are the people that are having that mentality, like they want to actually help and they want to actually relate to people.
I had you talking about that, I had somebody said to me, pero tú no tienes, you don't have that much views. I'm like, you know what, I don't really do it
for the views.
I do it because I enjoy this part of what I'm doing. I love doing it. It brings the best out of me. And also there's people that reach out that I don't know that are looking at my journey. It could be my health journey. So many people have started their health journey because of me, because they saw me that I started, like, and I don't know that until later
until
on in the
after
game.
But had you not done it, had you not shared, that person wouldn't have been impacted the way that they were, you know.
So that comes to a lot of fear of failure. Like, we need to
stray away from that.
And even if we do fail, is a lesson. There's a lesson in that
In
failure.
that failure, yeah,
In
of
every
course.
failure, there's a lesson.
Listen, I'm more proud and more like clapping for the person that at least tries.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, like you're
not
at
backing
least
off.
trying and you're not backing down, because in
Absolutely.
the end you're getting, you never really fail. You either learn,
You learn something.
you learn, or or you succeed and you grew, or whatever,
Yes,
like
absolutely.
failing is really just learning that something wasn't a match for
Exactly.
you, like I
Exactly.
feel like that's more to applaud than anything else.
Then anything else to say back up? Boy, I didn't try that. I should have tried that. Why didn't I do it? No, people are gonna say I did it. I could have failed, but I've learned something from it. I took something from that.
Yep. 100.
What's one of the books that you've read, like mine? This is my first book.
I read that book. I definitely need to read this one.
Yes, that one I have started.
This is not a promotion, final.
Yes. This is my first. You can tell it's all ripped, but this is my first healing book, 2019, when I started my journey.
Oh my gosh, I love her. Rachel Hollis.
Amazing. What book have you gotten
I
into?
read this
You
book
read this
too.
one, okay.
Lately, well, there was a book that I got from my coworker actually in September. She bought me a book for my birthday called Unraveled. So before Unraveled, let me just give the backstory.
Yes.
I had read a book called The Untethered Soul, which I want to say that's been like one of the books that has really like shaken me up in the sense of like digging deeper into my like my subconscious self, and like understanding like some of the things that are in my subconscious that I never really was fully aware of.
Yes.
So Unraveled it was similar, but and she's a Christian too. Like I'm not very like big on Christian reading. Nobody crucify me on that.
No.
But like when it
Absolutely
comes
not.
to that, I've been trying to like explore like different like more mental health books that like really go into like your mental health and stuff. So Unraveled, she's a Christian, so I mean it's really good, and she also talks about that, like the undoing of everything that you have been or known until now. So it's almost like she compares it to like just like coming apart. So like unbecoming
yourself.
Yes, unbecoming, because really like we always talk about like becoming the next best version, which all of that I'm all for that. Go into your best version, like dig into like what you want to be.
But how do you
next.
start that? You have to
you have to unbecome like some of the things.
Dig in.
Like
what is it?
Exactly.
Like I said, we're still learning things now to this
exactly.
thing. And I started back in 2019.
Yeah.
And I have fallen a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I've started again.
Because it's a journey.
It's a journey,
like
and there's like I told you, this is my loneliest season, which I don't feel lonely at all. It's just a season that has.
It's more about solitude than loneliness.
Yes,
like
exactly,
you're like you're by yourself, but you've chosen that.
I've chosen that, and I needed it. And I guess it just after I had surgery and all that stuff, and it's just happened like that. And I have learned so many other things here while I'm here alone.
Exactly.
And it's so important to have that alone time. And people have to learn that. Like people don't like that. They don't understand it. And they're like, why? But like, well, how do you? Because a lot of people ask me like, how do you like being so much in your
by yourself in your room?
I love it actually.
Yeah.
Because that's where I learn myself. That's where I'm like, I see what I could improve and not, and I learn new things, skills. What do I want to do? I'm able to use my brain more. Like I function better there.
Yeah, like thinking, like you're actually alone with your thoughts.
Yes.
And you're actually able to, and for us as moms, that's like. There's a whole big chunk of times, years, that we sometimes don't get that.
Absolutely.
Because it's like the child rearing years where they're like so small and they, you're busy. By the time you get alone time, you're exhausted. So you just want to like mindlessly watch TV or like go to sleep or whatever it is. So like as they get older, you start finding more of that time, and then you start being alone with yourself. And that's like the key there. So that's exactly what Unraveled was too, because it was like that's what that book did to me, because it was like, do I like the person that I am? Like do I like myself? Like I feel like there's so much muddied waters in the midst of life, like things that happen to you, like so much anger, so much hurt, so much like like just life stresses that you end up being this shell of a person, and you're just like,
I'm bitter.
Yeah, like do I like myself? Do I like the person I am? Like, and realizing that there's still time to become, because if you're not changing, you're dying. Like you have to
We're literally
be
alive, but
evolving.
yeah, you're dying.
You have to be evolving. You know, nothing. I think one of the rappers says it. I don't know if it's
Yes.
Lecrae, Andy. One
Yeah.
of them says like, you know, nothing is more certain than change. Like
Exactly.
you either,
Yes.
you know, you change.
And
You
change is beautiful. Change is needed. It's beautiful. It's like you need. There has to be a change when you don't see a change in your situation.
Oh my gosh. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
And that's
Like
it.
that's the tagline.
That's the
Like
tag. That's it.
that's it. Like you have to make a decision. Like at some point,
Mhm.
you have to be accountable for that. Like because
Absolutely.
you're regardless of it, you're changing. Like it's you might be resisting it,
Yes.
and that's
But
what's gonna cause you anxiety
Mhm.
and stress or whatever. But if you like actually allow yourself to align with where you're vibrating, like whatever
Yes.
whatever
Wherever you're at
your
in that
energy
moment,
is
yeah.
vibrating, then you're you know, you're evolving,
somehow.
and
you're
that's
doing-
beautiful.
Mhm.
You know, and I just feel like we as a culture sometimes think that
We stay
we
stuck
have to
there.
stay stuck.
Yeah.
Like, you know, how many people
No
do
hagas
we
eso,
know,
muchacho, porque te vas a
que
que tú
están
no
haciendo la
sabes.
misma cosa, el
Y tú,
mismo,
ajá.
todos los
Todo el
días,
día,
la misma
yes.
cosa,
No, yes.
todos
It's
los
like,
fines
I
de
can't.
trabajando de lunes a viernes para
Y
el
ya, para
beberse
que,
un vinito en la casa el
Y
viernes,
ya que-
like
that's
no.
like there has to be more to life. Like
yes.
life can't just be that 9 to 5 or whatever it is the hours you guys work. There has to be more. You should be able to work out. You should be able to listen to yourself and be still. Like there's so much more. In meditating, I learned that a lot. Like to like, there's times to be still. Like you just need that stillness.
Yeah, that I've had a hard time with that. With meditating.
Yes, no, but I mean, if you,
I tried it. I practiced it.
You practice it, you'll get there. Like,
yeah,
like I lost string because I haven't been doing it. So
but
now,
I remember you used to do it a lot before.
I used to do it every day, twice a day, and then I went down to 0. Now I'm starting it up again. It's super hard for me now.
Yeah, and
Because
I feel like that's where I am.
Yes.
I'm trying to, like, the other day I was doing it in my room, and I'm like, you know, when you're like trying to like be in the vastness, you know how it tells you like be in the vastness of the space.
Close your
I'm
eyes.
like, but I can't. Like, I'm thinking about I have clothes on my bed that I gotta fold, and you know, like that.
Like your mind, your thoughts are running, and this when you have
Yes.
they teach you how to shut down that.
Yeah.
Because there has to be like a 0, nothing.
Yes. Yes.
And it's so crazy because you reset instantly when you learn how to do that.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I'm struggling with it right now because I'm like, damn, why did I stop doing it?
Yeah,
Because
now you're like restarting
Yes.
from the beginning.
But meditating was one of the things. Journaling was another thing for me. Reading all these self-improvement books was another thing for me. Like,
oh my God, books have been
and I wasn't a reader, but once I started the self-improvement, I love it.
Yeah, I've always been a reader. I've always been a reader, but there was like such a chunk of time where it's been like a reader
When do
and
I
a
have
writer.
time? Yes,
like
yes,
después
you are,
ahora mismo, like it's almost like grabbing pen and paper, which I started by the way. I started again by the way. So it's
love
like
that.
grabbing pen and paper and trying to get your thoughts and stuff. It's so hard, like you know, because
it is,
life. You know, but you have to do it. Like you have to like create those disciplines.
Yes.
Like create, like you said, there's working out, there's going to therapy, there's you know doing your day to day or whatever, meditating and all of that. But putting those little things in between the timeline that are really feeding you because every day it's a gift. You know, I started. That's what I was gonna tell you before. Like I literally finished Conversations with God, which what I was gonna say. That's that book literally.
It's the book.
It's the book. I'm gonna lend it to Debbie. By
yes, I need it.
So that book is so good. And I finished that book, and I, in the midst of finishing that book, because of the things that I was feeling, and like it was like tagging at some things, and some things that I was talking with my therapist about grieving, like which is not only grieving death, but grieving like the death of things, right? Like
in your life,
the death of what the could have, should have, would have. Which is another form of grief. I bought a book that's called Good Grief, and I haven't started it. It just got in the mail, I think, last Friday. So that is a book that I ordered based on like I follow the author on IG, and I always follow her daily notes, and you know I feel so connected to like the way that she describes grief. The way she describes you know how grief comes into your life, like you know how it comes and goes on a daily basis.
It's a wave.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a wave.
And so I think that has the whole book thing has been such a big big part of my healing journey, because every single
Yes.
book I read, it like my point was that every book I read like incites something else that I want to
Yes.
get into. Like Conversations with God was so good because of the journey that I'm on right now with like trying to know what my next step is.
Yes.
And I feel like Conversations with God really opened my eyes to the fact that my personal relationship with God, and allowing myself to hear him in
Yes.
different ways,
In different ways.
and not in the traditional ways that we are so used to. It's like, bueno, yo quiero que Dios me hable, déjame abrir a Salmo 23. Like,
Y Dios
no.
Porque
Like,
te puede hablar
like
donde-
deja que él me hable como él me quiere hablar a mí. You know, like God is not one dimensional.
No,
you know?
and there's a moment that you could be in the mornings. Like mornings is my main thing where I do my devotional and all that stuff. And there's mornings that I'm gonna tell you I don't want to pray. I
Yeah.
don't want to say a word, and I just sit there. And
Yeah.
those are the days that he talks to me
The most, yeah.
In my stillness.
In your stillness, and that's what it is. So like, let's see how Good Grief goes, but I think that that's like my next. That's gonna be the next.
I'm
the
dying
next
to
book.
hear how it goes, but yes, I want to thank you, amiga, for
Oh,
being here.
You're welcome.
I love you. It was
I love you so
super
much.
dope, super dope. Thank you for sharing
I know.
with the world.
Yes. I wanna say
Till next time, but
before I
Yes.
go, I wanna just leave the. I was thinking about it in the car over here, like the one message that I would wanna like leave everybody
yes,
with, right?
please.
Like, is everybody is looking for peace, right? Like everybody's looking for something. Everybody wants to feel something, some type of thing. Like, and I feel like if we don't realize, or if we don't accept the fact that the peace that we're looking for, the safety, the success, the whatever it is for you, insert your want, is on the other side of what you're afraid to do. It's on the other side of your
good.
fear. Like for me, I am driven by fear. Like I am a fear-driven person. Like all my decisions are like coming from a place of fear. If you started really listening to yourself and come from a place of like certainty, or a place of like, you know, of knowledge of self, like if you know yourself, like you'll start making decisions from a healed place, and you'll start seeing results in your life, like changes in your life. And you know, sometimes those things will be hard to do, like those you'll have to do hard things, you know. And if I've learned anything in the past few years, is like I can do hard things. I'm not this little I'm not this little frail, like, you know, I can do hard things.
You have to challenge yourself. Every day is a challenge.
And when you do hard things, that really shows you. That's why I love, by the way, I didn't speak about this in the whole podcast, but that's why I love like my fitness journey, like the weight training and all of that, because it helps me.
It takes you to another dimension.
The
weightlifting.
It freaking helps me know that if I can push myself to lift this weight that I otherwise would never have thought I could, then I can do hard things. It also creates like this discipline and this consistency of like, this is for me, and I am not going to compromise this time because it's mine, right? And so you start doing that in other things of your life. So definitely my message is that, like, what you're looking for, what you want, the peace that you're looking for, the safety is on the other side of the pain that you don't want to feel. It's going to be painful, but are you going to endure the pain of staying the same, or the pain of moving to the next level?
It's self improvement, and it takes and that when we're talking about the gym journey, like